Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Dr. Kim Durama with MindBody TV. And I want to welcome everyone who's coming live, everyone who is listening to the podcast, or everyone who's listening to the recording here. I do go through in the MindBody community in Facebook and look at the comments, answer questions. So if you're listening, or if you're viewing the recording, know that you can enter your comments or questions anytime, and I'll be happy to connect with you there. So hello, everyone who's coming live. I'm always really, really excited to be here. I have had these weird internet challenges. Bought a new device. The picture should be clear now. It should be good. It took me a few minutes to get on today, but let me know how the image is, because I know it's been really weird in the past. And without any further ado, let's get started with today's topic. So what I'm going to be sharing today, and most of you know I am a physician who is sharing about the mind-body connection, how the mind doesn't just reside within the body. We are non-local. We do have the ability to feel energies outside of ourselves or become aware of what's going on with people around us, and have access to really higher levels of intelligence than what we conventionally think of that we could know or be aware of, or what could affect our body and affect our health. I've changed my practice from operating as an emergency room doctor to purely committing myself to my mind-body medicine practice, and not only sharing about this intelligence that is within the body, our ability to heal ourselves, but to also explore what else is possible. What's possible when we tune in, what's possible when we connect with the heart to access higher frequency awareness, what's possible when we release resistance and really embrace what is, and embrace ourselves fully and completely, and how powerfully this contributes to cellular healing and even to what's going on in the DNA. It's all been demonstrated really powerfully with today's research, but we're kind of just scratching the surface of what's really possible and how the body can heal itself. So I'm going to be sharing today about how your frequency, your vibrational frequency, your point of attraction, as some people might call it. Some people think of it as a mindset, but it's really much more than that. It's the energy frequency that you are at, affects your body, your health, your cells, and affects everything that you're experiencing. I love hearing where people are tuning in from. I know we have people all over the world who are tuning in here, so welcome. I'm so glad to be here too. Christine said, I love that you started at 1:11 today. Oh, cool. We do go live each or around 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So that's 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Time. And today I'm a few minutes delayed because of my weird internet challenges. But that's really cool. 111, for those of you who haven't heard of that, in numerology, it's a very significant power point, whether it's 1111 or 111. It was on January 11th at 11:11. And I can't remember what I was doing, but someone said to me, oh my God, we just did that at 11:11 on 111. And I was like, whoa, like something significant happened. Those are moments when there's unity and clarity that you've aligned with. There is actually a lot of that synchronicity. There's a lot to it. It's not a random thing like, well, I mean, hey, it happens every day, 11:11. But when you actually catch it on the clock or see those numbers frequently, there are ways that your consciousness is speaking to you and communicating with you. And as you come into more alignment, that number will come up a lot, like, hey, yes, you're on it, you're on it. So you can begin to receive levels of intelligence through all kinds of weird synchronicities in your life. And that's a lot about what I've been doing in my work with health and healing, is assisting people in tuning into that awareness, having way more. There's so much more going on than what we may perceive. And as we let that intelligence in, it really gives us a lot more insight into the choices we're making or actions and behaviors we're doing. So as beings who are primarily vibrational, we begin to realize we're not primarily physical, that our energy is, manifesting in physical form, but there's emotional energy, there's mental energy, there's, pure energy that makes up our physical form and affects our cells and actually determines whether we're in health and vitality, or whether, and things work out for us. I always have what I need. Wow, like things come in, I have resources, it's flowing smoothly. Or I'm in this constant struggle and, I don't have this. I need that. I'm not okay. Another thing happened. Just when this came together, boom, something else falls apart, and living on that constant hamster wheel. And it's not random. We actually choose ourselves into harmonious frequency, or we suppress it. So life is not happening to you. You're not at the whim of these energies and whatever is going to happen or what it's going to do to you. You actually are very, very much a creator in the equation of your life. So I had someone I spoke with yesterday who was, we had a conversation about the Embracing Health program, and she's interested in joining. This is my year-long integration where I work with people live. And she had some questions, and she shared some things about her story. And when I was planning what I was going to share today, this really came up, like lighting up, to share about how we can distill whatever's happening down into the energy, getting clear on the energy and allowing it to dissolve at the core level. What I mean is, if you've got an illness or anxiety, or your relationship working, or like, I never have enough money, or these experiences that we have. And so many people who find my work are experiencing that in their health. Like, I just can't get a break. I finally try this diet. I do everything right. And then like, it doesn't work for me, or it stops working, or it works, but I'm working so hard to keep this thing going that I'm depleted. So like, I'm not in that wholeness, in the abundance of health that I really want. And so when this woman shared her story, I realized like, okay, there's a way I look at this that's really, really clear. You can see this is the energy she's in. She was in the energy of, well, let me share her story first, and you'll begin to read into this with me. And it was really about calling that out, because when we can become conscious and embrace it as it is, we allow that to dissolve, literally. What we resist persists. And so as vibrational beings, we can begin to understand this, like, the focus of my attention actually creates a cellular change, creates chemical experiences in my body. And if I shift my focus, something else gets created and something else is getting stirred up in my body. What's happening there? Well, we are primarily vibrational. And as energy, what you focus on expands. As energy, where your attention goes, your energy flows. What you resist persists. So for me, if it's like, I have more vitality, or, I don't want to have this illness, what do I have to do? But I'm actually holding it in place by the focus of my attention on it. When I had an autoimmune disease years back, it was like a signing up to learn that mind body lesson 101, because I was experiencing it in my own body. And every time the pain came up, it was like, oh God, not again. Or I'd feel the pain and, I feel so frustrated, overwhelmed, defeated. These were the energies that were actually trying to move through my system and my whole system, my life, not just my body, but through my body. But every time I'd feel those sensations of pain, I'd go right back into those energies and like holding on them, trying to release them. Well, it doesn't work that way. What you resist persists. So her story, she started with what was happening with her son. She had her son and she's not been the same since. He was sick. She tried everything, changed her diet. She's down to like 5 foods that he could tolerate. And for years, just eating only those 5 foods and nothing else so that she could sustain him and he would be healthy and not react. And he was allergic to like 20 different things. They did tests and studies. So she with that. And then after that was done, she ended up getting sick. She kind of started putting things together, like it didn't fit any pattern of what was going on and any of the doctors were looking into. And then she discovered, we have this toxic mold. That's what's inflaming his system. But then it still wasn't an out. It was like, what are we going to do with this house? How can we clear this out? She just didn't access the possibilities for resolution. So they actually had to get rid of their house, completely move out, go somewhere else. And now she started getting sick. Her health is falling apart. And she feels like, I'm on this hamster wheel trying to run and run and run. There's seem to be solutions and possibilities. And she's scrambling to do this and do more and alter her diet. And there's a clinic out in California that they were on this big waiting list to finally get their son treated, and maybe this will work, but her son can't travel on a plane. So everything about participating in this was heavy, like the investment and the waiting list, and then like driving out there, like, how are we going to do this? And she felt like everything's just too much. So the energy of that powerlessness, where like, even if solutions appear, I can't successfully like complete that. I don't have what it takes. She's tried so many different programs, and she's like, I don't even have the energy to do these. And then the other energy was fear. So it was really easy for me to feel these out when she shared her story. The fear is when like, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm going to make sure I can't eat this, I can't eat that. Like, you see the possibility, but you got to keep racing and running and chasing and doing more to get it. And then the powerlessness is that experience where like, no matter what I do, it's not enough. No matter what, it's not okay. Her son's getting better, now she's getting sick. They discovered the mold in the house, but then they couldn't do anything about it. It's hopeless. So these are energies that our experience will bring up. And when you look medically, and I know most doctors that I know do have this insight. They'll feel medically and what's going on clinically, like physically, but then there's these energies underneath it where it's like this patient is in this drama of like, it's never okay, or this heaviness of feeling like a victim. And then those doctors themselves will feel powerless because they haven't resolved their own energy of where they're in powerlessness. Shit, what do I do with this? And I know because when I first started working with patients in my osteopathic clinic, they present like my fibromyalgia, my chronic fatigue. And it was like this heaviness of like, this thing is happening to me. And I would feel that and feel overwhelmed. And sometimes by the end of the day, being so energy sensitive as I've always been, empathic, it would be like, am I taking on everybody's energy here? Like, wow, this does feel hopeless. But I'd immediately have the awareness of it. Like, wait, I'm not going to let you convince me that your situation is hopeless, because I know that's not true. So it wasn't like I didn't believe that it was real for them. Yes, it was real for this person yesterday. The hopelessness, the powerlessness is real. It's manifested. It was manifested in the situation with the house. It was manifested in the situation with her son. It's being manifested in her body and her own health challenges. So so you can see how this can put you on a never-ending goose chase to heal physically, to help your kid, to resolve the environment in your house, whatever those problems are. But if you're at the same bandwidth, the same frequency where those problems exist, they cannot resolve out of your experience. If you're at the same frequency where the problem exists. So, Einstein talked about that, like the solution does not lie in the same consciousness, same frequency where the problem exists. And this is really what I wanted to talk about today, because this creates a whole new thing that you can turn into another problem to escape, which is, how do I raise my frequency? How do I get out of this frequency and into this higher frequency where things are smooth, things work out, my body has vitality, I have resources, it's taken care of. And see this conundrum of like, I'm here and I want to be here. I'm in this lower frequency and I want to be over there in that higher frequency, that alternate reality, are going really well. And there really is no way kind of get there from here, so to speak. You can't escape where you are, because that just creates more resistance. And this is what so many people are doing right now, trying to raise their frequency, but it's to get somewhere better, because where I'm at is not okay. And this is the whole reason why I created the Embracing Health program, to bring people into this integration, because we can really only come into something higher by resolving where we are. because life is going to give us what we are, not what we do, not what we deserve, not how high or how much we intend or envision. It's going to reflect what we are, what we're emanating, what we're putting out. And the only way to resolve that is to embrace what is, where you are. Which everyone is always kind of freaking out at me like, but I have cancer. Are you saying like I should have cancer? Or I'm in so much pain. How can I be okay with it when I just really want to get rid of it? And so the mind creates a huge conundrum. So in this work, we bypass the mind, come to the heart, presence, this space. Just feel and become aware here, because it will access you to truth. It'll access you to that resolution. Okay, I'm going to look at some questions and then talk about like, how do we dissolve? Okay, we get to the core. Yes, I'm in powerlessness and I'm living out in my marriage, and I'm living it out with my hormones, and I'm living it out with weight gain or food and diets, or I'm living it out with money. Or yeah, there's fear and I can see how I'm playing it out. How do we allow a dissolution? And what I've been touching on is by embracing what is, you are no longer in the resistance that propagates those energies. Just simply that one thing. All right, let's look here. Oh, I see my birthday, 10/22 on the clock pretty much every day. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, it says I see 10/10 and 11/11 usually every day, multiple times. Yeah, well, those numbers, and you can always look numerologically to tune into what that means, but you may intuitively already have the awareness of what it means for you. It's right there. So, all right. Jesse says, how can I be aware of myself, my thoughts and actions, but still stay in the same energy? I'm so aware, but struggle to get out of it. It's not to stay in the same energy. It's just to be present to what is, because being present to what is, with even 2% of just witness, which is allowing, is a higher frequency. So it's like you got to go down to come up. It's not your job to increase your frequency. That happens automatically. It's not your job to expand your health, your wealth. That happens automatically. It's your job to willingly enter the moment with presence. Being willing to be where you are, exactly as you are. And the power in that literally unlocks everything. The frequency shift is created through that. Like that is the higher frequency. In fact, I don't have it with me, but my mentor, Sylvie Olivier, who's so amazing, said to me earlier this week, I don't want to remember the words because I don't have my journal. She said, the greatest receiving is presencing this moment. Which in the space I was in really made so much sense. What's presencing this moment? It's, okay, Kim, I'm here with you now, exactly where we are. Not escaping and distracting or getting on my phone or doing work or trying, vision something better. I will meet you right here, right now, where you are, and presence it. And I'm going nowhere. And I will sit with this. Especially if you're empathic, which so many of you in this community are. I mean, how could you not want to escape? You're bombarded by so many energies and other people's anger or the victim feeling, or like you feel like it's all hitting you. Like it's so much and it's so intense. You feel things intensely. What do I do with that? I mean, I didn't know it was decades of my life struggling with that. So how can we meet the moment? And it's kind of like living in 10-second increments. Where am I right now? I'm not trying to get somewhere better or be there or like escape, right? Because what you resist persists. Will I be willing to meet myself exactly as I am in this 10 seconds? Liam says, I have chronic pain and my problem is I focus on it every day. How do I change my focus? So if you could focus, this is what changed for me. I began to focus on it with love. I would send love to that area of my body. I'd feel the pain, which is sensation. It's pure energy. And I'd be willing to receive that sensation. This is a huge part of doing with the women's work, Alive Woman, and the retreat that I have coming up in May. Accessing our own power and aliveness through our sensuality. Will I be willing to feel what I feel and tune in instead of trying to find more ways to tune out? But to tune in with compassion, to tune into what I notice with, when I say love, it's not, oh, this is so great, I love this. It's just the willingness to presence what I feel without freaking out and resisting it, without making it wrong. And I think that's a big thing in the medical field, is how much we make it wrong. We make symptoms wrong. We make pain wrong. We make illness wrong. When actually the physical body a lot of times is like detoxifying through an acute illness. And then we suppress that. And now there's like layers and layers of stuff that creates chronic illness. That's what I've seen. And through my journey as a doctor, always 100% of the people I've seen with chronic illness that isn't resolving, are these layers that have been suppressed and suppressed and suppressed of how the body's trying to work itself out physically, but that's been made wrong, and like suppress the symptom or overcome the symptom or fight the pain or numb the pain, or, you know, we've got to get harmonic now. We've got to feel better now. Well, what if I could be willing to sit with those energies for 10 seconds and just be curious about what's my body doing right, that if I could support it would assist me in greater wholeness, would assist me in being even more whole and alive and expanded. Because we're not just a physical body. Jillian says, seriously, everything has been in alignment for me. I struggle with the same thing as this lady. Chills up and down my spine. Thank you for sharing this. I needed this. So for me, what I'll do a lot of times, like if I'm dealing with something, like I was dealing with my computer guy. So he came over. We've been working on this for weeks, trying to figure this, and like plugged the device in. He's like, oh, well, you didn't put the, you know, there's like a CD. So your computer can communicate with the adapter. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so we got that. Now we're like, little time clock is ticking. Okay, we're uploading that. It didn't upload right. The thing didn't work. Like we had to call customer service and get on the phone. And the whole time I'm like, okay, this is one giant rabbit hole. And like, I want to be on my broadcast at 11 o'clock. And I could feel the energy of the like, no, you can't have it. It's not okay. And then the impatience of like, we got to make this happen. We got to make this happen. All of which I breathed in and breathed out and just found some space of stillness. Like, okay, I'm in this energy that feels really sluggish, and it's okay to be where I am right now. That is the surest way to allow a dissolution. And that didn't mean all of a sudden the sky opened up and the thing worked. No, we still like, we're in the energy of it for however long we were. Then it was like the time's clicking and I'm like, I'm going to be late. So it was like, receive the moment. How can this be absolutely perfect and divine? And how can I be in fluidity with this? And it was like 11:05 or whatever, you know, and we got the thing resolved. Boom, the lights are on, it's working. And I received that experience of, you know, having the assistance from the customer service, having the assistance from my Wi-Fi guy. Like, even though it wasn't comfortable, I'm like, I'm good. It's okay. So my non-resistance allowed a higher experience to come in. It will immediately shift your frequency. But this is so important when it comes to your cells and your body and your health. Every single person I've seen struggling with like the lowest levels of, you know, I've been bedbound for 4 years. I can't move. I can't eat. I can't even speak. That level of like debilitation and seeing where is this energy ready to express. Because when it's embraced, energy always is in expansion. So if you knew you were in expansion, could you be 2% more willing to be where you are right now as you are? Cheryl says, this is making so much sense with why trauma occurred from overwhelm. Yeah, because when we resist it, it's like that your energy contributes so much to what's happening around you. So like, you know, how many times you're on the phone with the customer service, like I had that moment and it disconnects and you're like, ah, and it just went from bad to worse. You're like, no. So going back to where I've been with this is, can I melt into the moment 2% more? Can I let that back pain be as it is and sense it more willingly? It's just sensation. It's just energy. When we're willing to let energy move through us, it moves. It doesn't get stuck. Nicole says, this is perfect for me. I've had severe head pressure for years. It started getting better at the beginning of last year. And for over a year now, it's been significantly worse. I've gone to so many doctors and they keep telling me it's just lame. It's lame or Epstein-Barr. But I feel, Lyme is probably what you want to say. Lyme or Epstein-Barr, but I feel it's deeper than that. Well, okay, here's the thing with Lyme and Epstein-Barr and any virus / overgrowth of yeast pathogen / bacteria. Okay, just breathe through this because I'll share a little bit deeper into this. For everyone, take a breath, presence where we are. Because really humanity is ready to begin to see and witness this on a deeper level. Your frequency of consciousness, which is, you know, if you're in fear or powerless, self-hatred, judgment, overwhelm, immediately impacts your biome, your own cells, the cells that live in you, whether it's quote unquote good bacteria that help break down food and create vitamins, or it's the quote unquote bad bacteria that, you know, impair your immune system, or it's Lyme that's going to just thrive in your system, Epstein-Barr that just, you can't get rid of this. Your resistance to these energies, to yourself, to your moment, to your experience. Just take a few breaths. Keep these things in place. Give them the perfect environment to flourish. Because those lower frequencies, we've seen medically that the gut biome, if we take all microorganisms, put them in a little cell, and you measure the energy frequency that they emit, the vibration that they're in, they're very different and distinct, meaning this particular genus and species of bacteria is always at that exactly frequency blueprint. Candida will be at a different frequency. So if there's like pockets of yourself where you've abandoned yourself, betrayed yourself, avoiding and escaping yourself, well, that leaves a vacuum for these. It's a lower frequency. You haven't brought the light into that space of darkness, and it will affect your body. And so when there's a clearing, and there's so many documented cases of this, where people have like stage 4 lymphoma about to die, or severe overwhelming virus that nothing's resolved. And there's you could call it a spiritual clearing, but it's a clearing energetically. Their vibration no longer sustains those cancer cells, no longer supports the growth of that pathogen. It releases because there's a self-healing mechanism in place, a clearing, physical clearing mechanism that's now allowed to do its work. That's how your body works. She says, I've had multiple scans on my head, and there are times when it feels so freaking scary. I've been doing so much energy work. I can't figure this out, no matter how much love and compassion and nice to myself. Yeah. And I've met that space more and more and more fully, where I want to do nothing but avoid the energy I'm in. And life has called me, like kind of forced me, because it's like, you're going to keep scrambling with this, and you know what that's going to create, to go into that distillation point, that moment, the pinnacle moment of, I am willing to embrace this fully as I am right now. That's what allows the dissolution. It's releasing the battle. Because some people will say, like, if I stop fighting it, it's going to take over. But that's the fear. It's not the truth. And so we fight and we fight and we fight and we stay in the, I'm trying, or I'm trying to raise my frequency. I'm trying to love myself. Okay. But really, it's all about escaping. It is such a tricky little slippery thing. And this is really the core of the work in embracing health is, how do I invite it? This thing that's so unwanted, because in the inviting, there's complete non-resistance. Kate says, do we embrace what is by sitting with them in stillness and allowing our feelings, including the fear? Yes. That's a really, a practice. And more, when I'm willing to do it willingly and do it with love, and kind of like, if you think of all the things you want in your life, I want to have a great relationship. I want to have awesome health. I want to have, my kids are happy. I love my home. It's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And you look at every single one of those and distill it down to why. Why do I want this? I want this because I want to feel joy. I want this because I want to have love. I want this because I want to feel free. I want to have more money. I want actually a sense of freedom. It's always going to point you back to this sort of core heart's calling, which is already in you. These things can reflect, but it's in you. Well, where do I go? Like Sylvie had said, the ultimate receiving is presencing your moment, receiving your moment, being willing to be with what is as it is without needing it to be different or better or more or to change. And I understood this for a long time as like the yogi on the Himalayan mountain concept. Like, well, that's all good for him, but I'm in the real world and I want my real life too. I want to like enjoy some wine and have fun and do this and do that. And so I kind of thought that letting go of all of it would mean I didn't, that I didn't have a life like that, or I'd have to be that yogi on the mountaintop. And it wasn't at all like that. What actually happens is when I'm willing to meet everything exactly as it is, there's more that shows up that's a reflection of my true self. There's expansion of the core of what I've chosen. I've chosen the core of I will presence myself fully and completely without trying to escape or making it not enough or wanting something better because I think it's not enough. Escaping myself. Oh my God, it just drove me crazy for years. And to be so sensitive and aware and empathic, it kind of made it trickier, but it also let me access my power much more quickly. So yes. And there's a great exercise in the MindBody solution for pain release. That's actually what the whole program is about. If you've had pain, or if the Embracing Health group is not like a fit to do a year investment and working with me live, there's other programs I've created to bring you through this as like a DIY to do it on your own. Rachel says, how do you unplug from the blame though? If you feel the reason you became sick in the first place was down to someone else's negligence, or if you feel wrongly treated. And it's the same thing whether you blame yourself. Oh, I did this thing and then I got sick and I shouldn't have done this thing. Or you blame someone else, your energy's still fast where you're being able to access it in the now. So you actually have to receive what happened back there because your now includes it. You're in this moment where that's what happened, right? So for what happens, and when I read someone's energy system, what they're doing is putting their energy in the past where they think they can resolve it. If this thing didn't happen, or if I get back at that person, or if they say I'm sorry, or if they take it back, then I won't be where I am now. It's just another way of escaping the now and resisting what is. So same thing. How do I embrace? Because if I embrace the now, I have to embrace it as it is, which includes this thing happened. And there isn't anything that will change it. Feel how hard that is? Feel how the mind is like, no! no, I have to make it change. I have to get rid of it. Well, that's the conundrum, right? Because here you are. Here you are. You, the precious gift of anything you could imagine, is here, being rejected, being resisted, because you want a better thing where that didn't happen. I feel the rumination I get stuck in sometimes. It lowers my frequency and keeps me in victim consciousness. Yeah, because you're making it wrong that this thing happened. You're making it wrong that you are where you are. Do you breathe through this and let it go, or just embrace it? So what if there's nothing wrong with what happened or where you are? What if you stop making it wrong? And I'm not saying you want it to be like this, like your nature. But if you know your nature is expansion, then why would you need to resist this? Nothing real can be threatened. So what would have you not embrace what is fully as it is? Okay, Emily says, once you do this, do your thoughts automatically become higher vibration? Yes. Well, not necessarily instantaneously, because it's not a quick fix. It's a practice. It's I'm willing to embrace what is as it is unconditionally. So yeah, but yes, 1,000%. When you release that resistance, because your thoughts, this is another thing that happens with the brain that we don't yet understand fully. It's like a radio station. You're dialing into a radio station. You're tuning into a frequency. There's bajillions of frequencies that are broadcast. Oh, I hate myself, I'm awful. There's, you'll never be good enough for that. There's, why did this happen to me? Like, there's all these frequencies. And then there's the frequency of bliss, of light, of love, of I'm amazing and I love myself as I am and life is beautiful. There's, higher and higher frequency channels we are attuning to. And when we're on a lower vibe, that's what we hear, that's what we feel, that's what we think. We think those are our thoughts, but we are pure energy. We are a receptor. We can tune into a whole different reality. Says, yes, what do you do? What do I do with that feeling everyone else's energy but my own? Yeah, and it's a big deal to not make it wrong, and then those energies move through fluidly. You no longer hang on to them. When you've resolved your own powerlessness, when you've resolved your own fear, it doesn't stick, it flows. So just like Mother Teresa could be in a really, really low frequency environment and bring healing and bring light, those energies didn't glob onto her system because she was in non-resistance. Randy says, this is really resonating with me, understanding how to be in a situation that feels unsolvable. So perfect. Yeah. So that's what I'll do is like, okay, here I am trying to work this thing out, and it's like another, and just harmonize. Just, I see where I am, and breathe in and breathe out. And even just 10 seconds of non-resistance can shift all of it. Nicole says, accepting the pain or a circumstance without resistance, which then creates a space for relief and evolution. There's no trying or working here. We're in the flow. Oh, and I want to make sure to include the link for the Embracing Health program. If anyone is interested in working with me live, receiving my assistance over the year, you can join at any time, and it's ongoing. You'll automatically receive the downloads, and we do a live call each month to, really assist your expansion. For those in the Embracing Health group who want to join me live in May, there's a special, you have like a special discount for any of those programs if you want to come live. But the retreat, for any women who are interested in coming to the retreat, it's at drkimd.com/retreat. And we'll be doing a 4-week integration leading up to that live event in Phoenix. And that's called A Live Woman, which is really about accessing this power for not only igniting your body, your health, energy, vitality, but also your sensuality, your wealth, your relationships, to be in that expansion for your kid. If you have children, it is so powerful. And one of the things I've seen, and I shared this with the woman yesterday, is when you're in a family, like that family unit is so powerfully affected by the energy of the woman, the mother, that like everything can be dampened. Like, my husband's not really making money, or my house is falling apart, or my kid has these ADHD, or this and this and this, or food allergies, or I just can't keep it going. And that when that woman comes into a resolution, all of it can resolve, like really, really beautifully, powerfully, and quickly, because there's an awakening in everyone around her. She is almost always the most powerful transmitter in that environment, the most conscious one, like really, really embodying a lot of power. And so that's why that power will create like very powerful chaos, very powerful unsolvable riddles, or very powerful love, joy, bliss, abundance, harmony, very, very powerful expansion, which is why I created the Alive Woman program. So if you want to do just the online portion, that's through April. But for those of you who want to join me live, it's toward the end of May. We'll be live for the retreat. So drkimd.com/retreat has the information for all of the above. And I've spoken with other energy workers too, who specifically help kids, and they've always said the same thing. Like, that's exactly the thing. If I can assist the mother, I can help the child, which is so, like, you don't think of that from a medical perspective. Everybody's body is separate. Yeah, we've got the same DNA. It gets handed down, but not completely ignoring that association, that energetic connection where, and it's tricky because women kind of make themselves wrong. Like, I'm already trying so hard. Now you're saying it's my fault, my kids are sick. And that's like, no, that's part of the old frequency, to even see it that way, versus to see like, oh my gosh, I'm so powerful. I can, as I become more conscious, what else is possible that I could create? So I'm not going to get to all the rest of the questions, but I do. Yes, we will do this retreat. Oh, well, we do it every year. We've done it several years in the past. I've just lined up this year for what we'll be doing, but probably we'll be going forward with that in the future. All right, let me try to get to a few other, and I'm having a webinar on February 4th. If you're subscribed at drkimd.com, you'll receive the invitation for that webinar to go deeper into what is the Alive Woman program, what are we doing in the retreat, and who is this for. If it resonates for you, certainly you can join right now. It's a really powerful, powerful integration. Jennifer says, if we know everything that happens is part of the divine timing, then whatever we're experiencing is right. We're always being invited into expansion. Yes. And that's it, it takes the warrior of the heart to do that. What's right about this? I haven't been getting. Dima says, just by placing a hand on the heart and sending love is embracing what is. Basically, yes. And there's a great video on my YouTube station, Heart-Brain Coherence, that guides you through that practice. Just sensing here, there are sensory neurites in the space around the heart, the tissue around the heart, that are just like brain. They're neurologic cells, they're neurons, but they're working independently of the brain, and the power there is actually registering, receiving information at a higher frequency and sending electromagnetically really powerful signals that affect your brain activity, really powerful signals that affect your digestive system and function, really powerful signals that affect your immune system. So one of the best ways to amp up and strengthen the immune system isn't just through the physical supplements or antibiotics and whatever, but through the what's called metaphysical, what governs the physical, the electromagnetics, thousands of times more powerful. And that's why in the first 10 seconds, and you're breathing into the body and letting, tuning in, you may feel unbelievable discomfort, all the stuff that's been suppressed. But because you're more conscious now than you were when you suppressed it, you can let it rise up. So instead of being in suppression, where the energies are in there anyway, whether you're aware of them or not, you are in that release through embracing. And those energies no longer create in your field, affecting your body, affecting your money, affecting your relationships. Do you ever go around people and you just feel like you're getting an energetic beatdown? They don't know. And they're like, I'm trying to be nice. Why does this always happen? Because we're so unconscious of most of the energies that we carry. We don't need to be. Anne says, I had an extremely powerful experience yesterday. I was filled with an anger so intense, I thought my head would explode. Everything was triggering me, and I was aware of that. I watched your YouTube video that you did on anger a few years back, and the message was to sit with it and feel, honor it. Feel what's at the deep cause of this anger. I did that, and I realized my rage was at my parents for bringing me into this world and experiencing all this suffering. Wow. I sobbed so intensely, feeling all of it. Really powerful. Is there more knowing for me around this? So that's beautiful. And don't make a story out of it. Because see how easy it would be to be like, oh my God, I'm angry at my parents for bringing me into this world. Like, I don't even want to be here. What do I do with that? But that's not for you. It's just appreciating what you're noticing, the insight. That's it. It's beautiful, beautiful insight, because the mind is like, that's not beautiful. That's terrible. It's like a big death wish. No wonder I'm making myself sick. Oh God, now I have an even bigger problem, right? That's why perceiving it at the consciousness you're at is going to be how you interpret it. So if you come into that space of just appreciation, wow, this is intense. Whoa, this is mega insight. Breathe in, breathe out. I honor what I experience. And yeah, it will dissolve. Well, it already has. Nicole says, I can't count how many hours I've laid there, sending my body love and compassion, letting the energies come up. It's absolutely frustrating. Yeah. So here's the thing. When we are actually in allowing, we are not in frustration. When we are actually in appreciation, we're not in frustration. So your body knows the difference between the conditional and the unconditional. Because sending the body love so that I raise my frequency, sending the body my love so that I get out of pain is the same thing as, okay, I'll be here so that I can be there because I don't want to be here. Like, it's worlds apart. I'll be here so that I can have the honor of meeting myself where I am. And it will never feel frustrating. Not that it won't release frustration and you're like, whoa, all this frustration moving through, you might feel it, but you won't be in it. She says, I deal with massive anxiety and fear too. I'm sure that's something to do with it. So Dima's asking, how do we deal with fears and problems, and do they change without resisting? Well, that is the change. Like, you are the change. Your non-resistance, you're willing to embrace, you're willing to go into it instead of escape, is the exactly thing that allows all of it to shift. So of course, this is all for the purpose of your expansion into health, into fluidity, but you can only experience that which you are being. So you have to first embrace it where you are. There's nowhere else to get to where it's going to be better, or where you can embrace it. Okay. Just look at a couple more. Bolak says, non-resistance is so incredibly difficult in the midst of painful symptoms which appear to recur, even though I think I'm moving through this energy and feeling more healthy. Yeah, these cycles are exhausting and they bring back fear and grief. I feel like I have no resilience to any stressors at this point in my life. That's a perfect way of explaining what it's like when we're in that powerlessness. So if you embrace, because then the mind will create a whole thing around that, and you'll perceive it through that filter. So if you embrace that, how powerless it feels and quote unquote is. Like, wow, this is real. This is heavy. You just expanded beyond it. You just became the observer witnessing it. That's all, even if it's only a teeny bit expanded out beyond it, to witness it, you're still close to it, you're still so in it, it's enough. So yeah, use the breath, because as soon as you focus on the breath, you're in a different point of attention. And it's very powerful. So it's exponential, like just that little bit, you meet the discomfort, but it's exponential how much it actually contributes to your expansion. The video I'm going to do on this, because there's a lot to that, to like the little investment in the discomfort, but the big expansion it creates in your energy, and it's worth it. Okay. Liam, I know there's a part of me that holds on to illness as a security blanket. It's somehow protecting me. Jesse says, I always thought I was empathic. Yeah, you're empathic. If you even had the idea about it, you're feeling energies around you, you're sensitive. So many of us, and people, it's not like you're born this way or not. I was certainly born this way. I mean, living in multiple dimensions at one time, perceiving other realities, picking up on everyone's energy. But there are so many of us who are awakening into it during your life. So the frequencies we're in right now are so high. The planetary frequency, the shifts, that are happening in the electromagnetics of the planet, people are awakening, all of a sudden becoming more aware. So it's not uncommon now at all. Okay, so I'm going to complete. Oh, beautiful, Anne. She says, I finally feel like I'm deeply understanding what your work and message is. Thank you. Me too. Yeah, come in layers. Like it'll come in through understanding first, and then you gotta begin to experience it. All right, everyone, sending so much love. I will be here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. or thereabouts, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, in the MindBody community on Facebook. We do post this to YouTube, so definitely if you're in YouTube, like the video and subscribe, and that will allow other people who are looking for this kind of information to access that. I will, like I said, have the webinar coming up, so definitely subscribe at drkimd.com, and we'll make sure you get the information about the retreat and everything that's going on this year. I will look in the thread later on if people are listening to this recorded and you want to submit some comments, what you notice in the audience, in the video, or questions that I can maybe address. Sending you so much love and compassion. I know this is not an easy time to be alive on the planet, but it is a time of really, really profound possibilities. We are all very, very powerful, and we do have the ability to meet to meet ourselves more fully, to meet our truth, so we can dissolve these old patterns of limitation that we've been living. So much love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.